explains anything except maybe the 360 concerts. It gives somebody an idea that we started on January the 1st. Somewhere, we had one day off in Honolulu. And it was great because they introduced us to Elvis Presley. Me and Barry went to meet Elvis Presley. The others slept. You know, they needed that day off. I bet they regret that. Oh, I always slept for Elvis. So how long does it take you to write your songs? I haven't written a song for years. I like to play other people's songs. You know, I sit on the piano and I play Fats Waller and Beatles and stuff like that. You know, when I used to write songs, I like collaboration, so you come up with an idea and then you share it with somebody and they go, and like John Lennon, somebody once said, well, why did you write all those songs with Paul McCartney? And John, not meaning to be rude, said, well, he was so enthusiastic. You know, so I like to be with a fellow enthusiast. Recently, someone posted the Royal Variety performance from 1970. Who chose the songs you did, show tunes? Any stories could you? Who chose this? What happened was we decided that we needed to be what happened was that we fell out with the American record company. Only the American one. And because we were young and Irish, it became a resentment. And we said, we're not going to give you any more of these fantastic songs until you give us the money. And of course they said, deal. It's a good deal. We'll keep the money and you keep the new stuff, because, you know, the monkey's around now. And so what happened was that we concentrated on getting a show. You know, what I do now is a show, you know, like Oklahoma. I say like Oklahoma, it's a show because if you go see Oklahoma, they start, there's a bright golden haze on the... It is a formula. And so around this 1970, I said, we need to build a show. And I said, like Oklahoma. And everyone goes, have you been doing acid again? And I said, no, but like acid, you know, like you have, we do all the Herman Sermon songs, but we create an entertaining thing. We don't want to be just these old guys going, we don't want that. We're not going to be able to do that. We're not going to be Led Zeppelin. We're not going to be The Who. We're going to be Herman Sermon, so let's create a show. So we brought in this guy who was, I think my friend Jerry Marsden, recommended this guy, because Jerry Marsden had done a show called Charlie Girl or Charlie's Aunt, something like that one, like a Broadway show. And this guy had been choreographer, but you know, choreographers have got much more to do with the show than people see. So I showed him the problem. I said, look, here's a bunch of, look, we've never ever been out in front of an audience without a guitar and a set of drums. How do we do a show? How can we put a show together where it looks like we're all round us? So this guy worked, and I got to tell you, I'd forgotten all about the show. I'd forgotten all about the show, and I watched it, and I think we were really good in it, but we hated every part of it because we knew that we did. When we started out, we didn't want to become the people that the Queen liked. You know, we were kind of a bit more punk than that. We thought we had we're not going to do that, we're not going to do that, I don't do that. You know, we've got this commercial we're going to give you $1 million to do a Coca-Cola advert. And we'd say, did the Beatles do a Coca-Cola advert? I go, no, well, we're not doing one then. And you know, because the Beatles had said, did Elvis do a Coca-Cola advert? So there was always some reference point. So we got into this situation where the Hermits specifically, when we would do shows like theatrical shows, say we would do it was called a play, a children's theatre, I'd have a job, and I'd be able to, I had a bit of training, I knew how to move my hands. But they'd be the sailors. You know, we'd be in this play, and they wouldn't have speaking parts. You know, they'd just come on with a sack, and then they'd get the guitars and sing a song. So they weren't really prepared for this. But they worked their asses off. I couldn't believe it. I would come in and they'd be going, the guy would be going, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. And these guys, you know, we're working class boys from Manchester. We don't do dancing. That's hairdresser stuff, male hairdresser stuff. So I'm seeing these guys doing all this stuff, and I go, and you know what? After I saw it, I had to call the Hermits, the ones who were still alive. And I said, Carl, let me ask you something. You know, I've known you for like 60 years. When you did that Royal Command performance, did anyone from management or the agency or did anybody call you and say, Carl, you were brilliant? And he said, no. Sad, isn't it, really? They came through. And she loved it, the Queen loved it. You know, it was a big deal for me to watch that. Because they did something that they can't do. And it was my idea. Is there anything you would have done differently in your career? I would have got a new knee in 1965, I think.